Hello guys, my name is Rensi Sangani and today we will talk about one book and the book name is Focus on What Matters, a collection of stoic letters on living well by T.S. Eliot. So let's start with this book introduction. I discovered Stoicism is early 2015, right around the time my grandmother passed away, and I was dealing with a breakup and a career switch. Everything happened at the same time. Stoicism helped me remain silent during the different and difficult time. I've been studying the philosophy ever since, roughly speaking and highly generalizing. There are two philosophies. Uh, there are two philosophies on which to base your life. First is skiing pleasure. Think of hedonism and some ideas from uh, Epicureanism. And the second one is finding pleasure in duty. Think think of Stoicism, Zen, and other philosophies that promote self-reliance. I believe seeing pleasure is the current philosophy of the world. We live in society that revolves around pleasure, consumption, and escapism. Most of us simply want to be comfortable in life. While there is nothing wrong with make our lives better, there is a major risk in taking this philosophy too far. When you are permanently uh, driven by pleasure, you risk ending up on the hedonic hedonic treadmill. This is not information. We all know social media make us feel unworthy and receptive. We know we can't buy our way to happiness. We also know that skiing pleasure turns us into self or our desire, and yet we fall for their traps every day. One of my favorite Stoic philosophers is Seneca. He was not he was not only a thinker, but he also had a long career in politics, surviving as a senator and later as an advisor to Nero. His works show how practical he was. Toward he ends off his life, he started traveling and writing letters to his friend Ulysses. The goal of this letter was to share Stoic thoughts with Ulysses, who had the hedonistic tendencies and lived a busy life. At the time, Seneca himself took a step back from public life and left Rome. From the quiet countryside of South Italy, he wrote 124 letters to Ulysses. I would been long time fun more things. You can tell that Seneca's ability tries to convince his friend to be more stoic, to purpose, to pressure tranquility, and to focus on what's inside his control. Seneca's original letters still serve as reminders to focus on the right things in life. The, the Stoics believe that to live a happy life, you need to go against the herd. In a letter to his brother, sister wrote, and Seneca wrote this. Let us inquire what is the best, not what is the most customary thing to do, and what established or claim to ending happiness. I love Seneca's letters to his friend because it feels like he couldn't and he could have written them to you and me. Living in the 21st century, Seneca successfully stepped away from the busy life to Rome and gave Lucas and outside perspectives. Sometimes that's all you need to you. and a need to go out of your own head. Inspired by Zensa removed letters, I started writing a weekly in 2020 that I called the Stoic Letters. Focusing on what we can control doesn't mean discerning or running away from the world's daily realities. It's all about balance and being more protectively instead of reactively. To have that clarity, I would been divided the letters into two parts. First part is, First part is the inner world. Everything related to the inner world. Everything related to mastering your own world. And second one is the outer world. Everything related to becoming the master of your own destiny. While many of us desire to become the rules of your destiny, we can't embark on that inward unless we master our inner world. Otherwise, we will give up every time we experience a setback. To time and to me, living well is about having a balance between having inner peace and finding success in our career and lives. When those two things county, we find a deep sense of meaning. In this book, you will read letters on nearly every topic on the mind of a person who is trying to live well. That period also signifies one of the mostly mentality challenging times of our lives. We have been going through a lot of changes in the world since then. I must admit that it's much harder to stay focused and peaceful now compared to before 2020. That's not just something people say, it's true. That's why I wrote this letter. After receiving so much good feedback, I decided to publish them as a collection. My goal is that these letters help you focus on things that matters most in life, the things that you value, not be hard. Read the book as you please, from cover to cover, or simply skip to the topics that are relevant to you. Enjoy. Various PS throughout the book you will find illustration at the end of some of letters. I've created this together with my illustrators to visualize the main idea of the letters. So this is the book introduction. So let's we start about what is the main purpose of book and what is the say book. So is book first chapter is the inner world. All improvement start within. We can't be happy and comfortable in the world if we are not same in the life and same in our mind. But being happy and having peace of mind is a difficult task in our distracted world. As soon as we find mental balance and we feel somewhat content, something happens that shakes us to the core. With stoic wisdom, we can guard our mind against and the things that disturb our minds and disturb our happiness. When you apply the strategy from the stoics, you will become mentally tougher, which will in the turn give you more tranquility. A strong mind is a peaceful mind. Managing your emotion. Understand at least that you have something in your more powerful and dive in that what case the bodily passion and pulls you like a mere pupil. So this letter one is no on knowing what you control. It's so important to only focus on what you control. Everyone seems to talk about that when life is difficult, which is great because we all need to those types of reminders. But I also feel like I'm consistently bombarded with useless information which neutralized those good reminders. This morning I saw something about Bitcoin And then I spent the next 30 minutes following one like after the other. I started reading about the history of money, but by the end I was getting lost on Wikipedia. How uh, how often does this happen to you? You start with watching a video, then you look something up, and soon you are down a rabbit hole of useless information. Without expecting that we don't control most things in life. We can never have lasting happiness. Getting concerned with things outside of our control is a habit. There will always be some kind of national or international issue to worry about it. Whatever it's a recession, war, natural desire, protest, or social issues. You can't accept bad things. It's good to practice indifferent to things that are outside of your controls but to do impact your happiness. What actually matters to your happiness? Good friendship, work that you enjoy, reading books that make you think, walking in nature, working out, watching a good movie. You know this. Last Saturday, I woke up, did some reading and writing, had brunch with my family, uh, then went for a talk together, come back, did some more writing and reading, had dinner, and watched a movie in the evening. It was a good day. It's a stark, it's a stark contrast with another day I had last week. I was talking to another friend about COVID. I got a bit carried away. They just go to shut down and whole world for 3 weeks and we are done. That didn't happen earlier this year and it's obviously not going to happen now. I kept the negative energy with me during the day and guys what I did? Not much. I just consumed more useless information. I didn't create anything useful that day. Things are the way they are. They are and we need to deal with them. That's how it's been for the past 10,000 years and probably will be for the next 10,000 years. What happens after that? No one knows. Not even the world's most famous futurist Elon Musk. Getting just a little bit headed over COVID was a waste of my energy and didn't make anything better for everyone. Our best bet is to make our own lives better now. Start the circle small, go to bed a bit stronger mentally and physically. Help your partner, kids, parents, siblings, friends, and expect the circle like that. I see it is a sequential thing. Start with yourself and then expand your reach one person at a time. We probably won't get old enough to expand the circle of the world. But hey, but hey, it's a pretty good if you can make your own life and the lives of the people you care. What That's already hard enough. Just don't make things harder by wasting time on things you don't control. Know what you can and cannot control. That's the Stoics' path to happy life. If you set a high value on happiness, everything else must be valueless. And letter 2 is on protecting your mood. Have you noticed how you often absorb someone else angry? You might wake up at excited and joyful. You start singing as you wait for your office and wait for your coffee. You have a great breakfast, go to your work, and just enjoy your life. In the evening, you meet a friend, and when you meet each other, your friend seems depressed for some reason. You just notice it uh, through their body language and sad voice, and of all a sudden, you feel the energy inside you shifting. You forget about the joy and experience throughout the day. You also get You also get a bit down. Your friend asks, "How was your day?" And you say, "Same old, same old." You actually wanted to say, "My day was great. Really had a good time today." This is a common event in life. We are all sensitive to signals uh, we get from others, and this is also true by the other way around. Other can also be influenced by your mood. When two mood when when two mood uh, collide, one usually wins, and it's often the negativity because it's such of powerful energy. Now, what can you do about this? Some people are committed to avoiding negativity at all costs. They only want to be surrounded by positivity. This is not be a realistic desire. It's the same as saying, I want to be healthy, but I don't want to work out." The Stoics had a great way to deal with this issue. They believed in being compassionate, but remaining cautious of another person's energy. To a Stoic, their one sanity is more important than feeling someone else's plan. But that doesn't mean they were distant or cold. Here's what Epictetus said: "You may see people who are distracted and in tears because they had to part with their child or lost some material possession. Don't let the impression lead you to think that something bad happens to them. They are not upset by what happened to them, but by their view of the situation. However, be careful not to show disdain for their grief. Show them sympathy and using the comfortably words, and even share their misery outwardly. But make sure that you do not inwardly grieve with them. You can be there for someone, show sympathy, and express your understanding, but as a Stoic, you should never forget what's the current judgment. Just because someone is sad because of loss doesn't mean that's the correct response according to Stoicism. A person who doesn't subscribe to Stoic thought doesn't discuss what is the end and what is not within their control. Our job is not to uh, preach our value. Our job is to execute it and execute our values in our own mind. Otherwise, we risk becoming patronizing or showing disdain for someone's feeling. And that is not a noble thing to do. We should never raise away someone's pain and say stuff like, "Why are you upset about that? It's not even real." Where it might not be real to you, but you are not to the other. This means the Stoic respect other people's emotions. After all, how can someone else tell us what to feel? When we decided to change our view of the world, it's an internal discussion. You could never start living like a Stoic unless you truly believe it's the right approach. When you are confronted with other people's emotions, have the argue you might have the agree to suggest possible solutions. You see someone struggling, and you have seen how to small mindset shift has improved your life, and you want to same of others. I think that's a kind thing to desire, but it can come across and controlling or patronizing. Stoics believe in the personal power of themselves and others. They didn't think they were any better than other people, and they didn't want to show disdain because they knew others don't appreciate that. Everyone likes to be their own person. This is actually a good thing. It means you can let other be. That's how you protected your mood. By not feeling responsible for how others feel, focus on yourself. and be the best person you can be. And if others need your help, you can be there for them. And this letter 3 is on motivating yourself. Every time I lose my motivation or energy, I do the same things. I return to the pursuit of knowledge. A few weeks ago, I felt a bit unmotivated. You know, it was one of those unexplainable periods that you are just not that excited about things. Usually, I wake up and I'm excited to get to work or to exercise. It was none of that. Nothing bad really happened, and I felt pretty good physically. I just didn't feel like doing much. Everyone goes thought this fast, but many of us get stuck in this phase, and that's risky. No one likes to be in the uh, perpetual state of I don't feel like doing much. So, what can you do to get motivated again? Try this. When you are lost, unfocused, or lacking motivation, grab a book about a topic you're interested in. Simply browse the web for anything that you are curious about, that what you want to learn about more it. It could be anything. Want to become a better writer? Try reading William Zinser. Want to become a better stock market trader? Check out the check out the Jack books. Want to learn more about human history? Pick up the pick up pick up the Dawn of Everything by David Garber and David Wengrow, which is the what I did. I love reading. I love reading about mankind because the more we understand about encourages, the more we learn about ourselves. That book by Garber and Wengrow is really fantastic and provides a new look for human history. David, who passed away a month after he finished The Dawn of Everything in 2020, was a very curious person. I had the pleasure to talk to him on my podcast, and I could really feel his excitement about the topic, and he talked about as an anthropologist. His energy and curiosity were continuous. It impressed and inspired me to keep pursuing knowledge to matter what happened in life. Around 7 years ago, I decided that I was done with pointless entertainment and boredom. After years of going aimlessly thought life, I just had enough to having no direction in life. Too often, people assume you need to some kind of higher aim in life to be functional. If we are not like people who work on specific, larger than life goals, we think our life is useless. That's not true. If you don't have a higher purpose, uh, you can make the you can make the pursuit of knowledge your purpose. This is also what is the stockist talked about. Sansa was a critic of the aimless life. He once said, "So I would criticize those who busy themselves on something pointless, but admire those who strive of a honorable achievement. And the more they put effort into it and do not allow themselves to be overcome and betwitched, I will salute them. All the better. Rise and breathe deeply and conquer that slope with one breath, if you can. Effort nourish normal scripts. When you make an effort to acquire knowledge, you nourish your spirit. Learning gives you energy, even if you don't use every single thing you learn. Which I am a big believer in applying knowledge. You never know when you will apply that you are learned. For example, I read about investing a lot of because I never know when I actually will need a piece of advice. But if I invest the time today of to learn, I can refer to that knowledge at same point of in the future, and that moment might really change my life. If I never read that wisdom, I could never apply it. When it comes to investing, having knowledge about the history of financial and the stock market helps me to put things in the perspective. Ultimately, whatever you know and whatever you use knowledge or not, it's a great way of living. Once that you given you energy and can change your life. Since I've said it best, so what is good? The knowledge of life. What is bad? Ignorance of life. To have knowledge of life, pursue wisdom in books, articles, and thought conversations with other people who are not the same path. When you keep learning, you will never be unmotivated for longer than a few days, because as soon as you pick up a book that you love, the excitement is so high that the scenes of a ways people you forward. Remember, when you are stuck, always return to the pursuit of knowledge. This book letter 4 is on dealing with anxiety. There are a lot of reason to be in anxious. Anxious, not just now, but at any given time in history. It's a human condition. The truth is that where it where Wrigley beings. I can go outside right now for a walk, slip on a banana, hit my head on the curb, and it slides out. There are a million bad things that could happen to you and me. Um as a pictures once said, if you want to make progress, stop feeling an anxious about things. It's really difficult to live a happy and peaceful life if you feel anxious all the time. I feel it helps if we accept a little bit of anxiety is a normal part of life. It's just like feeling hungry. When you don't eat for a longer period, your body started giving you signals. Hey, you, I am hungry. Feed me. Now, so you gulp something to eat and your body stop the signaling. That's actually useful, but your mind works in the same way, uh, which isn't always helpful. When the mind identifies something it doesn't like, it says, you are better to do something about these things I don't like. One thing that you used to get anxious about is whatever people like me or not. Can you relax to this? I often thought things like, why didn't they respond to email within an hour? Maybe it's because I was in hurry last time we talked. So what? You can't make people like you, and that's fine. The world is a big place. There are always people who will like you. If you are a good person and are aware of your own behavior, there is no need to ever worry about what others think of you. That's how not your problem. What about the economy and the future? Yes, that's another favorite topic for everyone who struggled with an anxiety. What if you lost your job? What if there's a new virus? What if the people no longer buy the product? When can we can train ourselves not be anxious about these things? The key is to practice detachment. Start with small things. Let's say you bought $100. Sorry, let's say you bought $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, and the next day you are lost 10%, which is the very likely outcome. Say to yourself, I took a risk, and I'm happy to part way with the $100 lost. It might come back or it might not. Either way, I'm happy to detach from these laws so I can have peace of mind. And there are more important things. You see, anxiety is always about fear. We fear that reality is different than our expectations, but reality doesn't have to match our expectations for us to feel less anxious. Uh, speak, uh, Epictetus explained this well. Things may not work out the way you want. When you choose not be too anxious, you do it to in spite of your unfulfilled expectations. What you lost is what you pay for your peace of mind. You want to expect people to you like you, but if that doesn't happen, you should accept it and move on. Don't give anxiety power over you. Be prepared to pay the price of not being liked. Is that so bad? Is your peace of mind not more important than what your coworkers or strangers think of you? Build up this mindset. Build up this mindset slowly, and have some patience. It took me a few years to get over my anxiety about the future, but there will always remain some tracks. To be honest, anxiety will never fully get out of your system. It's human nature. But with practice, you can make sure anxiety doesn't have a hold over you. At some point, you will accept that life is what it is. Some people like you, some don't. Jobs, jobs disappear while new ones are created. Nothing is forever, and for what it's worth, we are not getting out of this thing alive either. There is only one conclusion to this whole story. Nothing is worth giving up your peace of mind for. Thank you.